Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Depends on where everybody is located. I would like to thank everyone for taking the time to join us today. And thank you for being part of another Excell Battery webinar. Today's webinar topic is designing with lithium-ion battery packs for hazardous environments. My name is Charlie Steele. I am the Eastern Canada sales representative. Joining us as well as Craig Semple. He is the regional manager out of Calgary, and as well Mike McWillie, our director of engineering. Just some housekeeping before we do go any further here. We are recording the webinar, which will be available following. And if there are any questions, there is a Q&A box located at the bottom here throughout the presentation. If there are any questions, feel free to enter them in there. So our topics today include an introduction on Excell Battery, a little bit of what we're about, where we're located, applications and trends in hazardous environments, general lithium-ion design, safety, and best practices, integrating battery packs for hazardous environments, and as well, we have some summary and questions following. So a little bit about Excell Battery. Excell Battery Company is a leading OEM supplier of industrial and medical battery packs for over 35 years, supporting a wide range of critical applications. Our goal is to provide safe, reliable battery packs that meet demanding ruggedization and high temperature requirements. Additionally, we're an ISO 13485 certified company as well. Next slide, please. Excell Battery's custom battery packs are designed to conform to a range of unique applications and are supported by the most advanced cell manufacturers in the world. Our dedicated engineering team and supporting team include electrical, mechanical, thermal, and quality experts who will work with your development team to understand your application requirements, and we will guide you through your design, safety, and regulatory needs. Our team is best equipped to support our customers early in their development process to ensure the best fit battery solutions and best end equipment performance. And finally, properly designed battery packs result in lowering the total cost of ownership due to higher reliability, better performance, and increased safety. Manufacturing redundancy at these different locations and different countries allows Excell to deliver high quality products. We have 4 locations across America. Each of these locations are fully equipped with test equipment, welders, certified soldering personnel, and quality control specialists to ensure high quality battery packs are delivered on time. I'll then introduce Craig Semple, the regional manager out of Calgary, to discuss applications and trends in hazardous environments.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, we'll just talk a little bit about where things are at these days in sort of the Hazloc area and how batteries in general are on the rise. So hazardous locations is, if you're on this, you're probably either familiar with it or looking to increase your knowledge base. But one of the main areas we're going to really think about is when dust and fibers are available in the environment, so that we can have little sparks or flames propagating from one combustible piece to the next, which can potentially give us an explosive environment. We're seeing things in all realm of different types of manufacturers and producers, food manufacturers, pharmaceutical factories, obvious one in mining dust, and wood processing. So some of these applications you might be familiar with or not familiar with are things as mundane and uninteresting as a grain silo. We don't think about that every day, but the dust from grains can have catastrophic effects. Some of the fires and things that have happened from a grain dust explosion have gone on for 20 days, where the grains keep catching fire and smoldering, and you can imagine they're usually in a place where there's large fields of wheat and other things that could potentially catch on fire. So it's one of those applications that's a bit out there. When we put sensors and other things on these types of applications, we need to ensure that we don't have a situation that could potentially light those little dust particles on fire. We have mining. I think that's fairly obvious. Maybe the open pit style isn't as hazardous as others, but if we have people under the earth and there is any chance that we can have the gases, the methanes, the dust, the things that are down there catch fire, we've got a very difficult situation where people and their lives could be on the line. Wood processing, we've got sawdust and things up in the air. You could just get that critical fuel to air ratio that a little spark could just create a problem in something that, even in our homes, we probably do every day. Pharmaceutical plants, as we get into more and more high tech, the little dust around some of these compounds is enough to create a situation that we don't want to be involved with. One of the areas that I think the Hazloc is probably most in our minds, and we can think about the proliferation of the oil and gas industries, hydrogen fuel, things that are on the rise, as well as the things that have been tried and true for years on end here. Flammable gas presents a very dangerous scenario that can take quite some time to get under control. I think we all can remember back to some of the issues where some of the oil and gas wells were on fire over in the Middle East, and they needed to get some very clever engineering to get those things under control, which took months. So anything we can do on the front end to really not have that kind of thing happen is incumbent to all of us in the design space and the manufacturing space to ensure that we don't have that kind of thing happening. So, some of the obvious areas you can think about: pipelines, fuel tanks, the gas meters in your home. They're often battery powered now, where a car just drives by and collects the data from you rather than having someone come out and read the meter. So these things are all potentially at issue. Wastewater treatment, something we don't even really think about these days, but there's methanes and other gases that can evolve there that can be quite dangerous for our world, and that would obviously see ourselves in the world sewer systems, et cetera. So as the world gets into more sensor systems, all these kind of areas are potential Hazloc environments. You can see a sewage treatment plant up in the left there. It could be a dangerous environment where these gases are evolving. Obviously we have a refinery, things like that, where gases and other types of fuels are being used to develop pressure systems or to refine fuels and gases. It's critical that we don't have an issue around these types of systems. These plants are, in many cases, they're billions of dollars to produce these things, and the environmental and safety kind of catastrophes that can happen if these things have an issue are not insubstantial. A sewer system, right? If we're trying to monitor something going on down there, there could be methanes, et cetera, that are not something that we want to spark in our. And then, of course, you see it every day on the road. Fuel trucks, they could be carrying liquid hydrogen. They could be carrying, liquefied natural gases, or gasolines, or other flammable types of fluids that, once the pressure is released, they turn into a gaseous environment that can cause a really difficult situation on the road and tie up highways and just in general have safety concerns across those modes of transport. So yeah, the batteries, as everybody here in this meeting, I'm sure, is well aware, battery applications are skyrocketing. Everybody wants portable power at the site. Is often much more easy. It's easier to put out into the field, as well as these hazardous locations are on the rise, right? That there's mining is greater today than at any time in mankind. So the amount of mining, the petroleum gas, the pipelines, all these applications are just growing exponentially. And meanwhile, the battery space is also growing exponentially. And so the number of applications that we see come across our desk is becoming substantial. A lot of monitoring of levels, right? Tanks and silos. You're looking to see what the level is on these things, so you know how much is left, or what your pressure could potentially be in those areas. Drilling instrumentation. Excell has been in the oil and gas drilling space for measurement well drilling systems and pressure monitoring in active oil wells for decades. And it's one of our specialty areas. And so we're very, very keen and interested in what's happening around an oil well type of situation. And then, you get into midstream where you get pipelines flowing around, moving these things around. As we talk about liquefied hydrogen becoming one of the next big fuel potential pushes, these pipelines may get reset up to start pushing that around. So pipelines are whether it was ONG or other types of fluids that we're moving around, they're not going anywhere. They're only getting larger. Remote plant monitoring, right? It reduces the amount of wiring that you have to move around your plant, and other types of situations where a breach in some of those conduits could cause a problem. Batteries are becoming more and more put out into the plants in order to push data across. First responder gear, something that we don't think about often, but the people that go in to deal with things when there's an issue, these guys have to have equipment that is going to be safe for them to use. We get into things like the radios, tablets, phones, when we're in the zones of concern. All these things cannot spark or arc. They're absolutely critical. Personal gas detectors, if you're going into a zone that could have gases that are hazardous to your health. There's a picture of a fellow here with a gas detector, and he just needs to monitor what's going around in his environment so that he can monitor what's happening, and is his health in danger. Breathing apparatus, as you can imagine, if a firefighter or a welder or somebody is in a situation where there's gases around, they need to have something so that they can ensure that their lungs are protected. So, when we look at, for one example, IECEx certification, which is certainly a certificate that's greatly on the rise. Year on year since its inception, it has grown immensely, the number of certificates and applications that are being applied for. So we're getting many different applications coming through these. The slide at the bottom seems to have the years only as the 2000s, but anyway, it moves up towards the 2022. So we're getting towards 4,500 different IECEx or hazardous location types of certificates every year. That's a lot of different devices being deployed into these areas. So it's only getting larger. The battery space is only getting larger. These things are becoming very critical that we keep our eye on them. So the roadmap for IECEx product certification of compliance is quite something, right? There's a lot going on there. As you can see in the kind of the top left, the number one thing, the first thing you're going to really get engaged in is the manufacturer design. So really critical that when we get going, that first block is done really well. Things are well defined, and you're dealing with the best information you can get right off the beginning of the start line. There's a big path here of documentation, of testing, of all the things that we need to do to ensure that these devices are going to be safe. And it's really critical that we put our best foot forward. When we get going on this race, it's really important that the path is straightforward. Really don't want to be having to do too many zigzags, although they're inevitable, right? All projects start off with design intent and sometimes has to have a few things happen along the way. But just really important that when we get going here, we're partnering up with teams that are going to help us get to this goal line in the most successful way and avoid the pitfalls as best as possible. And we at Excell see all sorts of these applications come up, and it's something that we've become quite good at, is at least from our side, ensuring that that we get the cells, we advise on the types of products that are going to work in the system to give you the best success possible. And with that, I'll pass you over to our Director of Engineering, the fabulous Mike McWillie.